Hello, Ronnie.
Hello, Robert.
Very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is my Camaro. It looks, at the first look, it looks like a Camaro 69, and actually it is, but it's built in 2018. It's a homemade fiberglass body on a tube chassis, and it's actually based around the Corvette C6 2009. So the engine is from the Corvette, and the rear end is from the Corvette, the torque tube, transmission, engine, everything is a Corvette. So it runs like a Corvette almost, but better, hopefully. Actually, I started with the molds for the body, and at the same time when the fiberglass was hardening, I started with a tube chassis. So I just made a table for it and worked on that one. So I started where the four corners for the wheels. I made some fixtures that was the center line in the height and the width of the car. And then I just built everything from the outer corner and inwards.
It looks low. What's the ground clearance?
I drive now with 95 millimeters. The front, that's the lowest part. Nothing is below 95 millimeters.
Is it flat underside?
Yeah, it's completely flat. Run some boost on it, 9 psi, and we have E85 as a fuel. It's about 800 in the engine, but it's a very soft tune, so low boost, low ignition. We only run 17 degrees of ignition. So it's a stock engine actually, stock crank and rods and pistons. The BTR stage 3 camshaft, new springs. So it's nothing fancy at all.
But not stock either?
No, it's not stock, but almost, yeah. Did you hear that sound?
Yeah.
This one's for you.
Thanks. What do you think was the biggest challenge in this build?
It's quite a compact build. It's very tight in some spots. The most tight spot is actually around the driver's feet. The pedals, the steering column.
Why did you go for an automatic instead of a manual gearbox?
Actually, I like to drive automatic. But next build is going to be manual drive.
Next build?
Yep, I have a new build coming up.
Okay.
We'll see it later.
Is it a Camaro?
It's a Camaro, yeah. It's a 69. It's the car that I built the molds from. So
it's going to be similar, but more extreme, or what's the purpose?
It's not a fiberglass body, it's a steel body. It's going to have the called R8 tubing. It's like chromoly but better. Swedish steel, of course. It's going to be 95 millimeters lower than this car, but still 95 millimeters clearance underneath.
So if we switch back to this car then?
Yeah.
Have you used an original Camaro parts and then placed it in the same location, or is it all brand new? Everything?
No, I think it's the door handles, the windscreen and the rear screen, that's it. So everything else is special made for this car. From nothing to a drivable street legal car, it took about a year.
That's extreme fast, I think.
I
spent 10 years on my build.
Yeah, but you didn't do it 7 days a week.
No.
But in that period we went a lot of traveling too, so we had some weeks off for sure. 4-man's ventilation. And here we have the air condition. The interior is made of, I started with duct tape right onto the tube chassis. Then I made some molds out of fiberglass on that duct tape, and then I took it out and then put some insulation on it. And then a friend of mine, Lars Etzner, he made all this leather interior on it. So it looks almost like a car now.
Very much. You have an Android instead of old school gauges. How did you solve that?
Actually, it's more than an Android. It's also the way in to map the electrical system in the car. But it's an electrical system that's called PDSX-1. It's a power distribution control system. It works really great. So we have a master in the center of the car, slave in the front and slave in the rear.
So you can have any functions that you want?
Very much functions, yeah. And then you have all the connection with the engine and transmission, like temperatures and pressures, You can have them on the dash, wireless. It goes by Bluetooth. The car was terribly hard to do, like quick acceleration on the freeway. So then I decided I want to choose what gear it's going to use by myself. So I made a pedal shift for it. The pedals themselves are from a Mercedes E-Class, I think it is. And then I had to configure the system in the car to work with it. So the problem is I have a complete driveline with engine and transmission from the Corvette, but I don't have the BCU, the body control unit. And then you have to fake the signal from the BCU. I made it work with 3 different resistors. So when you push one pedal, it gives one resistance, another resistance, and when you do nothing happens. So it works really great.